everybody. It's Zephyr here, back with... Some of my books just toppled over. Back with another episode of... I'm back with another episode of Zephyr book collection. Actually, there's some CDs in here. That's how that get in here. I'm back with another episode of the Zephyr book collection. Right now, it is episode 4, which is going to be comics and magazines, which I only think I have one magazine in there, and then graphic novels. So let's get into that. So I'm a big Uber nerd. I didn't exactly organize any of these, so there'll be new ones, old ones, Marvel, DC, random ones. So the first thing I will go ahead and get into is magazines. So I found this Rue Morgue Monstro Bizarro, an essential manual of mysterious monsters. Rue Morgue magazine and library. So it's more of a horror and like monster type thing, but my wife, as you may or may not know, is a huge horror fan, a huge horror collector. So there's like a whole Mothman section. And she used to get the Rue Morgue magazine pretty regularly. I don't know what happened to most of those, but this one was still on the shelf. And it's like different cryptids and Bigfoot and Mothman and like monster type stuff, Lizard Man. So all those stories about those, and so that's pretty cool. I really dig that. I do like cryptid, monstery stuff. So next, on a graphic novel scale, I have the Secret Avengers Mission to Mars. Now this one, check this out. Back here, Cap fixing to put on the Nova Corps helmet. It's a really good one. I actually used to have the hardcover edition of this back in the day. So this is one of the big ones back in the day. This was, does it say when this came out? I know it's a collection of Avengers, Secret Avengers 1 through 5. I'm trying to see what year this was. Okay, so it's manufactured in 2011. So manufactured 2011. Yeah, it's really cool. Again, I love Marvel and Avengers, and the Secret Avengers was one of my favorite like team lineups because you had Cap, but it wasn't Cap as Cap. It was when Steve Rogers, he was just known as Steve Rogers Super Soldier. You had Valkyrie, you had Beast from the X-Men, you had Moon Knight, War Machine, Nova, and Black Widow. So it's like a kind of more, it was more like a stealth ops, like kind of going in and taking care of stuff. But yeah, it's a really good story arc, even in this first 1 through 5. I was a big fan of it back in the day when I had it in the hardcover, and I ended up having to sell it back in the day. I had to do, I used to have, like it would have taken me 5 videos to go through all my comics, but fell on some hard times back in the day, and sadly had to sell almost every one of my comics. And yeah, so since then I've been regrowing it back, and this was one of the things I got when I started regrowing my collection, to bring that back. Now also in the graphic novel front, I have The Invisible Man, H.G. Wells. It's a graphic novel here. Sure, I'll find a cool page here. So like, you got like him picking up a stick, going after the old man with a stick. But yeah, it's literally almost just like a retelling of the story, but with in like graphic novel form. The full get up there. Pretty cool. Yeah, I've read this one twice now, 2 or 3 times now actually. So it's really good. I'm a big fan of sci-fi stuff, as you see. Also behind me, I got my Invisible Man little figurine. I've got H.P. Lovecraft over there. So I got regular comics. Now this one is one I got, I think I got at the comic book store, but it is called Fearless and Fantastic Female Superheroes Save the World. And this one I thought would be really cool. It actually just goes through all the different like Marvel female superheroes and characters. You got Pepper Potts, you have Wasp, like Ant-Man and the Wasp. You've got Nico Minoru. I actually don't know her. This one I don't even know. You learn something new every day. You got Lady Sif from like the Thor and Asgard stuff. So you've got just like a ton of the female Marvel characters. I mean, it's huge. It's got Kate Bishop, Colleen Wing, Rogue. I mean, you've got everybody in here. You've got, like I said, even some I don't even know that I've never heard of before. She-Hulk, it's my wife's favorite, one of her favorite comic book characters. Yeah, so I got this. I actually got this after we found out that we was having a girl. After I found out that I was going to be a girl dad, and obviously a nerdy girl dad, I seen this and I was like, oh man, this would be awesome, you know, for her to read one day. Hopefully, if she's into comics, you know, a nice kind of role model kind of thing to go by. And even just for me, like, I mean, it's Marvel superheroes, so I dig it. And I dig the going through it. So next, let's get into our actual comics, which is going to be so I'm just going to grab a stack here, and I'm just going to, I've got like 2 stacks here. I'm just going to grab a stack and just start going through and showing off. So we have Berserker #1, which is a pretty new one. It's the Keanu Reeves series. I think I've got 1 or 2 of those so far. I need to collect more, but we have X-Men Curse of the Man-Thing. You will see a lot of X-Men comics around here. I have Life is Strange comic that I got, Partners in Time, because I'm also a big fan of the Life is Strange games. Not got to play the new one yet. If you've played it, let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know if I need to get it and play it. Future State Nightwing, because I'm also a big Nightwing fan. Nightwing is actually my favorite DC character. I have this free issue of Marvel Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the Avengers. Is this an actual like comic issue? Oh, this is like a preview kind of thing. Interesting. I have these 2 I'm going to save because there's stories behind these 2. Let's save those. Let's set them right here. Let's set them face down right here, because I'm going to save the ones with stories behind them, right? You got to talk about these. So, we have the Demon Days X-Men. Again, I'm an X-Men fan. Also a big samurai and like old school Japan fan, traditional Japanese, so I love those. I got Carnage, Black, White, and Blood, because who doesn't love Carnage? Speaking of Spider-Man villains, I have Morbius, the Living Vampire. And I have another Uncanny X-Men Cyclops cover, variant cover. Grab some more here. We have Fantastic Four, the Herald of Doom, Part 1, because I'm a big Dr. Doom fan. He's my favorite comic book villain of all time. I have another Nightwing. I have the Hanna-Barbera DC crossover, Nightwing and, is it Magilla Gorilla? Yeah, Magilla Gorilla. And then I have Black Knight, Curse of the Ebony Blade, with a beautiful variant cover there. I have Fantastic Four #32 variant edition, The Bride of Doom. Again, gotta have that Dr. Doom stuff. And again, the traditional Demon Days, Mariko, old Japanese. I have a True Believers #1 Iron Fist, Marvel Knights. We have, I should probably see where the second one of these is, but I know I have #2, but we're skipping from #1 to 3 right now for Curse of the Ebony Blade. I have Marvel Zombies versus Army of Darkness. It's a nice little horror one there, versus Ash Williams. I have another Marvel Zombies versus Army of Darkness. I have, because again, my wife's favorite, we have She-Hulk Goes Ape, or Go Ape. Pretty crazy one there. Some old school and new school. Like I told you, got a good collection of everything in here. Alright, there's a nice big stack here. We have Steve Rogers Super Soldier, the Heroic Age. Again, this is around that Secret Avengers timeline that I was telling you about, that I'm a fan of. Kind of a big deal. Captain America Civil War Epilogue. This was Death of the Dream. This was the fall of the Captain America. We have She-Hulk Cosmic Collision. Looks pretty cool. I've not read that one yet. Some more X-Men here. We have Phoenix Resurrection, The Return of Jean Grey. I have Alien #1 variant cover. Marvel started in the Alien comics. Again, big sci-fi fan, big fan of horror in this house. We have Fantastic Four, again another Bride of Doom, Part 2. It's a wild storyline, by the way. We have Conjuring the Lover, Again, that was one I got for the wife because she is a huge Conjuring and horror fan. We have another free comic book day. I got a lot of these too. Avengers comics. Here is a Star Wars Legends. I think this one was also a free comic book day. Yeah. Star Wars. Another free comic book day one that I have is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. TMNT. Still not got to read the Last Ronin storyline. I've won them. I want to read them. I'm real excited about it. I've heard a lot about it, but I've not gotten to yet. Spider-Man. Nice Carnage on the front there. I have a Pokemon. I Choose You. Free comic book day. I have Old School Avengers. Free comic book day. Earth's Mightiest Heroes. We have True Believers #1, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Till Death Do Us Part. That's a crazy comic too. I have read that one and it's pretty wild. I have Marvel Rising 0. Got a whole new cast of characters there. We have Nightwing, an old school Nightwing comic. Going back in the day. We have Casper's Spooksville. Another free comic book day one. We have a Buffy the Vampire Slayer comic, Giles. They did a spin-off for Giles. Any Buffy fans in the house here? Got Star Wars Adventures, free comic book day. And the last of my free comic book day ones is Howard Lovecraft, Big Book of Summer Fun. Because again, over here it is. I got H.P. Lovecraft bust, and I've got the Cthulhu Funko. So you know, I had to get some Lovecraft comics up in here. Now, the last two comics I did want to show off, the ones I had earlier that I wanted to share with you, is any comic book fans in here will understand or know are some big milestones in comic book collecting. And these are two that when I went through and had to sell all of my comics, these were the two I kept. These were the two I refused to sell no matter how bad it gotten, because these were my first two. This one is the first comic I ever received, like that I got. It was an X-Men. Again, I was a big X-Men fan back in the 90s. Deal with like the legacy virus type thing. I was a huge X-Men fan growing up, and that was the first one I ever received. So it's my first ever comic, so it was so important to me. The next one was the first comic I purchased myself. Was the first one that I actually, with my own money, I think it was like birthday money or Christmas money, but that I actually went out, sought out, and bought. And it was the Uncanny X-Men featuring Colossus, the Knights of Hellfire. And this actually came with a Colossus figurine. It was actually like a set that it came with, but still, it meant a lot to me because I remember reading this one and even that one back in the day when I was younger, and these were like my first two big comic book milestones. So I'm excited to have those two. Those are like my big two fancy ones. So, yeah, so that is the comic book collection. In the next video, next two videos probably, we will get into the fantasy, sci-fi, fiction, basically all the fiction novels and stories, and then that'll be the last part, the last chapter of this series. Well, no, sorry, it won't be. The last chapter will be the babies books. I'll be going through all the like kids and baby books in Ivy's room. But this will be the second to last chapter, I guess you could say. But this will be the next big chunk. So join me on that one, guys.